Here we are for a live with the incredible Glenn and Sandy. So, just a moment. What are we gonna talk about today? Well, today we have an amazing guest that Glenn is gonna introduce, and of course we're gonna share lots of awareness together. So let's wait for the amazing tools to come. Okay. Glenn.
Hello.
Hi, Sandy.
How are you?
So nice to see you.
Nice to see you. You look so bright and lovely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you hear me well?
I hear
hello,
you.
Hello, everyone.
Glenn.
Hello, Glenn.
Another
Hello.
Thursday. All right.
How are you guys?
Doing amazing. Very, very good. It's been another amazing, busy week in my life. And it's great. How about you, Miss Sandy?
Oh, it's been a crap. But this is where we get to practice what we preach. I'll just rip the Band-Aid really fast. My beloved bird passed. I know. So I'm wearing his, I don't know if you can see this. This is his little bracelet. This was his little ID band. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Petey lives in Central Park forever now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Oh, go ahead.
Did you find a little spot and kind of bury him? Is that what you did?
Well, just between us, as it turns out, when it's really freezing cold in Central Park, and you try to dig, it's a rock. The dirt becomes a rock. It's frozen dirt. So we, wrapped him nicely in a towel and covered him over and had a moment. I am very aware of what follows. I get it. I get it. We're not going to go back and look, but it was a moment. And actually I, for my own healing, maybe I went and recorded a podcast in video version and audio version in just within hours of it occurring, and just sat down and let the camera roll and spoke. And it's a little piece on loss and grief. To me, it's very powerful. And a lot of people have reached out to thank me for it. So I wasn't sure if it was going to be embarrassing, when you're really in your own stuff. But nonetheless, it's out there on the Rockstar Changemaking podcast. So, I spoke about it. It's rough, man. It's rough.
Wow,
Yeah.
Sandy looks emotional today. What's happening?
I know.
Oh. Let's say hello to AYU. She said hello. I'm sorry, Sandy. I know it's a family member. It's a bird. It's a thing, a part of your life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it really genuinely, it gives us an opportunity to really practice what we preach and check in with, what am I doing? What am I really doing here? And is this what I'm teaching? And how aligned is that? So it's really a powerful process.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Okay, yeah.
What part of the world are you in now, Miss Francesca?
In St. Moritz is a place where you can ski. Usually people that are very professional, truly professional, come here because it's not about the town and the coziness. It's truly about the best pistes of Switzerland. So we have this competition on Saturday, which I'm going to attend. So it's very exciting.
You're going to ski?
I'm a professional skier. I love it, guys.
For real?
Professional.
Yeah.
Really
well,
good.
I get to know you, Francesca.
I have many secrets, guys, that you still don't know.
That's it. Do you do flips and stuff?
So it's very dark. Otherwise, I will show you.
Okay.
Wait. You are a professional skier.
I do off-piste. I climb mountains. We spell the foc, which is basically this tissue you put underneath the skis. And then I climb mountains like this, just walking. And then I get down with doing off-pistes.
Mm-hmm.
Without snow?
With the snow, but not towards snow. So it's very wild. So it's very dangerous. I mean, if you're not used to it.
You're doing...
Never guessed that of you. This is amazing.
I hate the gym, but I'm very sporty.
You really are. I could just see you floating down a mountain. You really are an angel. You just really are.
I love it.
An angel with lots of demons too, as we know. That's why we have so much wisdom. I mean, at least me and myself.
We should get you and Chelsea Handler together. She'll go down topless, and you'll just have wings like on you, right? Like the two of you going down.
I don't want to see Chelsea Handler topless and the way she perform.
Really?
No thanks.
It's lovely. Go look on her Instagram.
She's evil. Come on now. We don't like Chelsea at all. You don't either.
Can I wait? Can we start with a funny story about that? Can we start with a funny story about that? So it was Chelsea Handler's birthday, and she posted on Instagram. She's just going down this, I don't even know where she is. She must have been dropped by a helicopter or something, one of those kind of mountains that's just in the middle of the wilderness. So here she is on skis with a drink and a cigarette, topless, skiing down the mountain, and it's just this happiness, right? So I'm watching this. My son comes over. He's 11. He comes over, and he sees me watching this, and I'm like, uh-oh, because she's topless. And so, you know, as from a parenting perspective, you know, so I just, I didn't make a point of it. And his eyes get this big, and he's like, wow. And I was like, what's the wow? He said, that's so beautiful. I'm like, what's so beautiful? He's like, the mountain. And then it occurred to me he has 2 lesbian moms. He just doesn't even, like.
That's amazing. So that it brings up an interesting topic, and I'll tell you why I don't respect her or people like her. It's very easy to have an attitude towards life and towards things and to tear things down that you sarcastically don't agree with. But what's much more meaningful, instead of just tearing everything down in the world, why not offer some positive solutions to create real change? Instead of using your voice for hate, which in my opinion she does, instead of using your voice to separate people and tell everybody how wrong they are and how right you are, spread some love, spread some positivity. I know she's partly a comedian too, so you got to take her with a grain of salt. And she is funny, I'll give you that. But I just feel like her voice is gone to that same kind of hateful place like Whoopi Goldberg's voice has gone to. You know, you look at a movie like Ghost, and Whoopi Goldberg was this beautiful, loving soul, her character in this movie. And I believe that's who she was for a long time. But now when I watch her voice, I can't listen to her. All I hear is hatred out of her mouth and division. And that's all I hear from Miss Chelsea Handler. So that's my take.
You as a straight white male, I really understand, and if I were in your position, I would say the same thing. And not being in your position, because she tears guys up. That's true. Even at a distance, because I am a big fan. I think she's great, and she's hosting The Daily Show this week. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm eating it up. I think she's doing a great job. But everything you're saying, I see, hear, understand, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Yeah. I agree with your perspective. Yeah. And I still like her, but I do agree.
Oh, you can. She's witty, and there's a reason she's at where she's at.
Yeah.
You know? I just think that voice could do so much good at the same time, and it chooses not to. That's all.
Yeah, totally agreed. Totally agreed with you.
Let's not forget that the personality we have is also shaped along our journey, as we know, as we are not born with certain personalities. If she's like this, must have been because of her past, because of the people that are surrounding her, because of the way she's been grown up. So we cannot really know unless we truly know the soul of someone.
It's also a really good question to put out there, because Glenn, you said she could use her voice for change, for example, instead of just beating people down, especially men. And then the question becomes, what really is it that makes change? Because is this comedy that she's doing, this witty comedy that she's doing, is it creating change indirectly? You know, are people sort of waking up and responding to it in different ways? I would argue yes.
You think so? Well, let's take another example since we're a little bit in this area. Now, I didn't watch it because I just can't, and I almost don't even want to say his name because I'm just, it shows me how much I do not want to connect with someone like him. But what the Grammys allowed Sam Smith to do on his last little thing,
I didn't see
just
it.
thought that,
Can you?
yeah,
What did he do?
he dressed up as Satan, and he was just doing this disgusting, vile, really raunchy act on the Grammys. And it was just so typical of distastefulness. And I just can't connect with that stuff anymore, you know?
Oh, by the way, because I know we both said he, Sam Smith is a they, so I got to get better at that.
Oh, that's what he wants us to call him. I can call him.
Right. I'm fine with it. But then the question becomes, if art is to invoke any negative emotions or reactions, should we censor that art? And that's the question, right?
Well, there's art, and then there's just trashy. There's art, and there's trashiness for the sake of being trashiness, without any intention of creating art behind it. And in my opinion, that was just trashiness for the sake of trashiness.
Do you like the song Stay With Me? You like his song?
As we know, guys, as many presidents do, they become trashy because they get attention. So people do it in purpose nowadays to become trashy because that's the way of getting attention. We live in a fake world. There is nothing else to say.
Yeah,
do we?
Exhibitionism. Yeah, it's...
We live in a fake world where appearance makes people feel attracted. Any politician now is pretending to be so funny while they're just acting, nothing against, but it's not part of their personalities. And they do this to gain followers on TikTok. Now we have Berlusconi. I say hi because I know him talking about this. So I don't think this is is a good example. I believe unless is made for a good purpose, not to manipulate people.
So let's look at this from a belief system perspective, because that's the work we do. So Glenn, I asked you, hi Jackie. Glenn, I asked you if you like the song Stay With Me. You said yes, that's a Sam Smith song.
His voice has absolute talent, and he's an amazing singer. So the trashiness isn't necessary. He's good enough who he is.
Okay, so then the question becomes, here is a piece of this person that you say yes to, and there's another piece of this person that you say no to. So when you look at Sam Smith, is it a yes or is it a no, or do we have to make a judgment?
Well, there is no judgment. It's about the feelings we have when we listen to him.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it's 22, Jackie.
Happy
22.
birthday, Jackie.
Today, happy birthday. So I also feel, well, I know from the work we do, it's also important to censor our mind on what we take in and how we take in information. So that's why I don't know that there's any TV talk show host personality that I want to take in the perspective. You know, I don't watch a lot of news, if any, because I don't want to take in that perspective. It's not healthy for me to be a part of. And the same is true for a lot of artists. If there's artists that I don't like their message so much, I don't know that I want to take it in. And I think it's important for us to censor our minds from what we listen to.
So it's easy to turn off the TV, the radio, and not so easy to shut your social media, but we're working on that. But the question becomes, with the work that we do, right, a lot of love, a lot of relationships, a lot of connection, what if, with the Sam Smith example, we like the song, but we don't like this other stuff, so we're going to just not take in Sam Smith, and for you, you're allowed to make that choice. It's a healthy choice for you, right? Yeah. I think they're beautiful. Go watch the Sam Smith Kelly Clarkson duet. Oh, so good, right? So I'm
sure it's amazing.
I stand in a different place. But when it comes to those, we can't shut off our mom or our spouse, or we especially can't shut off our child. Yes, we can, but like we're just talking in sort of a reality, you know, we're not going to shut off our child. And so how then do we advise people working from their subconscious beliefs? How do we be able to be in that space in a relationship that we might like one piece and hate 1,000 pieces? How do we be there and be authentic instead of this fake world that Francesca, how do we do it?
Well, I believe I always say the same thing, but for me, that's the way it works. I say it because I feel it. I want to be funny, even though I was sad 2 minutes before, it's because I feel it. If I have to pretend, it's because I want to add good energies. I don't like, in general, I believe we cannot generalize, because manipulation for a good purpose can be good sometimes at work, within families, as our parents manipulate us, for the good. I'm talking about bad intentions. So if you're funny to get followers because you want to manipulate to get votes, that's not a good example of someone that is in power of spreading a voice for a country. Okay? If a guy that is 14 years old is doing this to get attention, it's totally understandable. So there are different cases. I believe fake is when you do something that looks positive and you have bad intention behind.
I think Glenn would even agree, though, that Sam Smith didn't come out with a bad intention with their art.
Did. Watch
you think
it.
He did?
Yeah. Watch
okay,
it.
I didn't see it.
It's very ill-intentioned, and that's what I don't agree with. And at the same time, there's a phrase that I use a lot, and it's take what you like and leave the rest. Even when people listen to me, like, take what you like, leave the rest. We can do that with all the people in our lives and our friends. Because obviously we never agree 100% with anyone or everything. But the bigger picture, even like when they let Cardi, what's her name? That
Cardi
did WAP on her last year's Grammy show, and it was just so raunchy and so trashy. And there is no positive intention underneath that. It's just raunchiness for the sake of raunchiness. And I'm not a prude. I just,
so let's use that. Let's use that, Glenn. It's easy to shut the TV if you're watching the Grammys and you don't like it. How is Harry Styles, by the way? He's adorable. I didn't see it yet. I haven't watched anything. Was he good?
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay. All right. So anyway, it's easy to shut off the
amazing.
TV.
Yeah.
It's easy to shut things off. But when it comes to Francesca, for example, if your lover said to you, well, I like these two things about you, but I don't like when you come out with your authentic anger. I don't like when you come out with your authentic frustration. Therefore, I'm going to shut you out. What would you say to him?
Well, let's find a compromise. But if you want to shut me out, if you don't like my nature, you shut me out.
What would you recommend to a client in that position?
Exactly. I would say when emotions are involved, of course, it's about I accept you as you are, accept me as I am. If I have to talk to a client, I would say, why are you, can we be more precise? Because I don't want to give any other generical suggestion.
So the client says, I love my child who is now a teenager, but they're so difficult. I can't kick them out of the house. I can't. So I'm constantly trying to change them in so many ways. That's what they're doing. They're trying to change their child's behavior with good intentions to hopefully give the kid a good life, but they're really causing problems. The parents are.
Not accepting nature of people means also you don't accept your own nature. That's the first step to understand. So I would make the mother look at herself, like, what are you not accepting about yourself? What is wrong within this connection with your child that you cannot get along? First of all, we have to separate children from boyfriend, from clients, because every person has to be treated differently, in my opinion. We are not all the same at all. Relationships are the most difficult thing in the world, and we cannot treat everyone the same, in my opinion. So
let me give you an actual real life example that happened yesterday. So my son, who's 11, came in and he was too loud, and Jen, my partner, was on a work call making a presentation to a very large company. Bodhi comes into the Zoom and in the Zoom, okay? So Bodhi lost his phone for the night. And I'm here seeing clients, and these texts are popping up on my phone. He lost his phone. He won't stop screaming. Do something about this, right? So when I came home and we had a conversation about it, I said to my partner, Jen, who, believe me, if one of my kids came in screaming right now while we're doing this live thing, I also would not be happy about it. Okay. It's really understandable. So I said to Jen, I said, listen, you keep saying to him that he needs to stop this behavior, but he doesn't see it from your perspective and he doesn't want to. He doesn't.
Well, a child, if we tell him to stop this behavior, he's going to do the opposite. So to a child.
Right, of course. That's, yeah.
So
what I said
was like that. So I know.
Then you look at the root of really what's going on with him, and it's a bigger story. So I'll just tell you what's going on with him is Bodhi really believes, and most people do. Most people, I don't care what age you are. He really believes that it's so important to be right, and I have to prove it, and I have to prove it now. When somebody gets older, they still feel like it's important to be right and prove it, but they learn a little bit about, I don't have to do it right now. They learn about appropriateness of timing, but they still have a belief, I am right and I have to prove it. And I said that you're shooting in the wrong basket. There's no happiness in that, even if you do prove you're right, which you never will. That you are making the purpose of life being right, and that is a false premise. When you shift it from the need to be right to the need to feel good, then your behaviors and your relationships change. And so I said to Jen, I said, until he understands this concept, he's going to keep up this behavior. We need to talk to him about the need to be right and what
also, yeah, a child must find himself in different situations to understand what's right and what's not for himself, to understand what feels good or not. Because as a mother, as parents, we need to give the opportunities to children to experience a lot. Because if we block them, telling them what to do or what's right, what's wrong, to study all day, it's totally wrong in my opinion.
What do you think, Glenn?
Well, you know, growing up in East Hanover, New Jersey, it was a very Italian area, a very Italian-based area. And even though I'm not Italian, all my friends were. And so if you did something stupid, the Italian mom would slap you on the back of the butt. Get out of here and shut up. And you would get out of there and he would shut up if you were doing something wrong. You know,
I would never do this. Never.
You would never.
Excellent
never
advice.
What?
I would never do this because I've been, I talk about experience. For me, the highest education is, of course, not forcing someone, but to truly understand someone. That's a very noble thing to do. So, as a mother, patience first. If you shut down your child, of course, so much patience. We're not, of course, accusing any parent. But the more we know before having children, the better it is.
On the higher picture, but sometimes it's a swat in the butt and get out of here. What's the matter with you? You know, that's the East Coast way. What's the matter with you? Get out of here. And then it's true. You know exactly what I'm saying. There are times to understand behavior. And there are times to put a boundary up and say, no, now leave quietly. It's not a time to express your feelings like this in this way. There will be an appropriate time and I will hear you, but not when you act like this. Go.
All right, listen, I'm going right into the stereotype. I also grew up around a lot of Italians, okay?
Also giving examples.
Wait, Italian, hold up. Wait a minute. And I can tell you, and you can quote me on this because it's true, okay? Like if we're stereotyping people, I have met no other culture who says this one phrase more than any other culture, and that is, oh, that person, they're dead to me. Oh, that person. All right, they do. I'm not talking to them anymore. They're dead to me. I see parents say this about children and on and on. In the Italian culture, you know I'm right. You know I'm right, Francesca. You'll never be dead to me.
The Jersey Italian culture.
The Italian culture, the South American culture, the South African culture are very similar, let's be clear. It's not only Italy, Latin, guys. It's about all the Latin places. From
the New Jersey Italian perspective, they are all doing it, okay? New Jersey and South Florida, all of them. Oh, that one's dead to me. That one's dead to me. So you could say that slap on the butt works, but maybe it's just a Band-Aid in the moment, but it's not making it better. It's making it worse.
No. To me, it doesn't work at all. And my mother used to give me, of course, but bad treatment. I was closed in my room with the key, like proper. I think I know more than anyone.
There is no such thing.
Actually, it didn't work at all.
That's the point. In the moment, you'll get out and shut up, but who you're becoming is going in the wrong direction, right? So there is no such thing as assertion, period. There is only alignment. So unless you can hold a space for your child or whoever the person with whom you have a relationship to find their own inner being, if they can't hear theirs, they're not going to listen to yours.
But what if they're coming at you in a very, the body's coming at you really disrespectfully, saying things that aren't okay to say to his mom? What do you do in that moment?
Each moment is different because something happened before and I don't know where I'm at, right? So there's no just one answer. But if he's really, generally speaking, let me picture this. So he's saying the F-bombs and he's doing the things.
Just
and he's
disrespecting you in a way that isn't okay.
That's all, yeah. That's not the moment to teach anything. He's too far gone in fight or flight. I don't say anything. I don't say anything. And then, because he's bent over, right? So he can't hear anything when he's here. In fact, when this is aligned, this is misaligned, right? So when we use logic on someone who's in fight or flight, they fight back worse, right? It's an attack on them. So they feel less safe. So I need to hold a safe space where when he feels safe, we can talk about anything. So now is just not the time. And when I've been the one in fight or flight, okay, if I can catch myself, because I screw up a lot, but if I can catch myself, what I'll say to him out of respect is, you know what? I'm not okay right now, and you deserve better. So I don't like what you did. I'm the one upset, so this is not going to go well. Let me go get good, and in 20 minutes or so, we'll come back and we'll talk about it, right?
Yes.
So it's about aligning, not asserting.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because as we know, we become impulsive and aggressive when emotions are involved, so it's better to stop and to talk later. Yeah.
I completely agree with that. It's all right, we're not going to discuss this now. And I'll come back and I'm in a better spot, and we will. But
when you say that, I want you to add to it, because you deserve better. Because they do.
Yeah.
We deserve better than bad treatments, of course.
Yeah. So I just think I've seen many kids that don't get boundaries from their parents, and there are certain things that just aren't okay to be said to people. You know, there's certain words that
how do you define that boundary? That boundary to me is not assertion.
Yeah, it depends how you. It doesn't have to be. If you've let it get out of control, then it will get to that point.
Yes.
If it's something you've been consistent with your whole life, then it never gets there, you know. But if you have somebody that has a temper issue, and they're in that place making that clear, firm boundary that you don't get to speak to me like this. This isn't how we communicate. You need to leave. And then we'll come back and talk about this later. And then you dive into what's really going on.
So that temper issue didn't start today. And if we caught it X amount of years ago, then they wouldn't have a temper issue. So when someone comes to you, a known person or a client, and they're in a temper issue, that's not new. Yeah. And in that moment, the best thing that I can do for, let's just call it a client, is match them where they are with their temper issue and let them know how right they are about the things they're really right about. Because unless until they feel safe, we're not going anywhere. We're not making any changes. Let me challenge you guys. This is such a great conversation. Who knew we were going to talk about this, right? It's just
I love this point.
All right.
So
okay.
True.
So now Sam Smith, Glenn, needs some help. Is upset with some comments. I'm making this up. Is upset with some comments that they got about the Grammy performance. Again, I'm completely making this up. Glenn, you're a professional. Sam Smith goes online, looks for the greatest hypnotherapist in the world. He comes across Glenn Rottmann, and he hires you to help, or I got to get better at that. They hire you to help them. How do you now counsel Sam Smith on this issue and how to get to the better side of it?
All right. So, first, obviously, after. This is assuming after rapport is built and after trust is built.
Good. How do you build rapport? By telling them you think they're bad or wrong? No. How do you build rapport? How do you do it?
You're going to listen. I'm going to listen and acknowledge and know that he's heard. Let him know that he's heard. And then when I feel we can have a really deep, honest conversation, I'll call it like it is. Listen, the reason you're frustrated is because what was your intention in doing what you did? And what did you think the response was really going to be? When we get rid of once the shock factor of the media wears off and the smoke clears, what do you think that intention was going to bring for you?
Exactly.
You know? And then dive into that. Because that's what it's about, right? There's always an intention, whether you're. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You know, you put your hand on a hot stove. What did you think was going to happen when you did this? You know,
if you were a parent and you said to a kid who just got burned, would you say in that moment, well, what'd you think was going to happen? No. What would you say in that moment?
I would just put the fire out, you know,
and love them 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 and love them.
Yes.
Also, that's the point. Within love stories, a way of fighting less and constructing, building more within the relationship matters. It's truly this. As soon as we get hurt, if we feel that the person had good intentions, we can avoid taking it within our gut forever, as we all do, many women, because it comes from the gut, this memory of suffering. So to really go through the intention of someone, even, mostly within love, I believe, make us more free to love and to take, less regrets.
So my 3-year-old recently touched a hot pot. I think of this because you said it. She's fine. She's fine. But okay. In that moment, right? And so you do the initial thing, like run it under the cold water. And if that's wrong, I'm sorry, because maybe I don't know the right thing to do. But we did. We ran it under cold water, and then I put raw honey and lavender. And I don't know if that's the best, but that's what I do. Okay, so maybe it'll be better. But nonetheless, we got her to a better place. She's fine, totally fine, no scars, nothing. She's fine. But it was traumatic for her. And when the fire was out and we got to this, all the smoke was cleared and we got to the other side, it was a few days later, we talked about it. And she's 3, but she gets certain things. And I said, I know that you really enjoy cooking and you like helping mommy in the kitchen. Yeah, really. Right. So I was pointing out to her good intentions. I didn't hold it open to ask her what her intentions were, because that can go in a negative space sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I showed her that. I showed her that I understand her good intentions. I pointed out what I thought they were, and I asked her if that was correct. You see, so there are ways of holding a safe space without putting somebody on the spot. If somebody were to ask me anytime ever, what are your intentions? It feels a little bit like an interrogation or an attack. Mm-hmm. So there are softer, smoother ways we can hold rapport.
It all depends where you are in that conversation. Hello, back to Dubai.
Yeah, the worst part, guys, I have noticed along, all these experiences within relationships is that many people accuse people to have bad intentions because they're the first one to have them. So as soon as we live within this world of intentions, we don't even recognize our intentions being bad, we accuse others. So it's very important to do inner work, dear friends, as we all do, even us as healers, we do inner work every day, to recognize people's intention. But you can only do this if you can read your intentions. So it's very important to understand your nature, to understand others' nature.
I think the point we all agree on is that intentions are the only space where we're really working here. It's the only place where we're really working, right? Even Bodhi's intention to be right. I think we lost Glenn for a sec. Hold on. Or is that me?
No, it's Glennino.
Okay.
So annoying.
That's all right. And you're the one traveling. Glenn's the one. Maybe it's raining for a minute in LA. You know how that happens.
Well, in America, they still we lose connection for the rain. Sandy, I don't believe it.
Let's talk about Glenn. Let's
talk about Glenn. Well, he's not with us.
While we're waiting for Glenn to come back, maybe somebody has something to say about this. Maybe they want to join.
See, we had 2 requests before, dear Sandy, but I didn't accept because, of course, at the beginning, it's about our connection, to explore connection. So, but then they left. So I suppose it was not important.
Or they're like, oh, they're too good for me. They're acting too good for me.
Or maybe I don't speak English well. Okay, Glenn is here.
Oh, Glenn's here, okay.
Here.
Hey!
I don't know what happened. All of a sudden it just froze, went blank. I'm like, where'd he go? So
I know, and I'm so sorry you missed it, because Francesca was talking about how she had a secret crush on you, and I was like, well,
guys, I have a crush on you too. Let's not flirt online. Let's do it privately, guys. So
all right. So then, there's one great thing Dr. Kappas said in the EMP book, and he said that we have to remember that when people do something, it doesn't mean what it would be to us if we were doing that. Hello.
That was profound. Let's come back to that. let's come back to what you said. That was huge. Okay. Hi, whoever you are.
Hi. I'm Charlene from South Africa, Johannesburg.
Oh, no way. Okay. So her and I talked the other day, but she was in pitch black because they had a rolling blackout. They don't have power all the time.
That's it. So yeah, so it's actually called load shedding, and we have it like probably 3 times a day.
Load sharing. Have you ever heard of that, Francesca?
No.
No. How about you, Sandy?
I've heard of the rolling blackouts, but not load sharing. That makes sense. Yeah.
Explain what that is for us that don't know.
So load shedding, it's actually called load shedding, right? So load shedding means that you don't have
shedding a load.
Load shedding.
Load
No,
shedding?
it's load shedding. So that means
Shedding.
you don't have electricity. So it's literally a blackout. So that means it's like, and each area, like each region within South Africa, little cities, each one has their scheduled time to go off.
How do you spell it? Load what?
Load shedding. Load shedding?
Load shedding.
Shedding?
We never heard this
Shedding?
expression.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, it's I can't imagine that. You know, I was telling her, it's like Sandy, you're funny. Ignore her. Sandy's, ignore her. She spends too much
She's
time
very
on
emotional
it.
today, Sandy.
That's so good. So I'm glad you joined us. So I invited her to come on. So we're going to change our subject.
Yes, Glenn told us about you.
Yes.
We knew you were coming.
So I thought we'd start by just talking a little bit about because Sandy's been a radio personality most of her life. She presents, she speaks. Francesca leads groups in all kinds of ways, so she presents a lot as well. And so describe what happens to you, Charlene, when you have to present or speak in public.
Yeah, and
Tell us everything, Charlie. No inhibitions.
And I love speaking, right? So don't get me wrong. And however, it's like I'm prepped, I'm ready. And sometimes I literally go blank. And I think it's because, you become like, it's a lot of anxiety, and then you just have this overwhelming feeling, and you lose your words, you lose your thoughts. And then I read up on it, and I see that so many people actually have a fear of just public speaking. I mean, yes, you do it, you love it, but at the same time, it's just you got a lot of anxiety for it as well.
Yeah. Does it come from shyness, do you think, or from lack of practice?
I wouldn't say lack of practice. It's a very good question. It's a very good question. I wouldn't say it's lack of practice, and maybe a bit of shyness, I would say. Maybe a bit of shyness.
Okay. I'm sure you speak with your heart, not only with your mind. So words maybe don't come because you're very... Describe yourself first as a woman, dear Charlie. How can you describe yourself?
I would say that I'm an extrovert. I love going out. I love meeting new people. I love trying out new cultures. So that's me in a nutshell. At the same time, I do have my introverted side. So at times I just like to hibernate and be by myself as well.
Okay. And why did you choose this path of public speaking as a mission? Are you attracted by this scenario vision, or are you forced to do it?
You know what? I am doing it at the moment, as I said, but I just feel there's so much room for greater improvement. And I do love what I do. So I would say definitely improving on it.
Okay.
How beautiful is her accent? I could listen to her talk all day long.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right?
No,
your voice is spectacular when you speak. It really is.
it really is.
Very much.
Yeah. All right, Sandy, ask her a few questions. We're going to go a little 3-round here, and then
okay. I not only am I enjoying your voice, Francesca, I am enjoying your connection, your listening, your line of questioning. It's really beautiful to watch you work. So it's really, I like your question.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Public speaking is my favorite thing to work on. Next week, Wednesday at noon, I'm releasing the Rockstar Changemaking podcast public speaking episode. Okay. So that's coming out. You'll learn a whole lot more. But one of the main things I teach people when it comes to speaking is, and if you don't listen to the second half of what I'm about to say, you're going to miss the lesson. So there's a first half and a second half. If you only hear the first, you're going to lose it. The first half is, we call this parataxic distortion. You don't ever have to know the word. It doesn't matter the word. It's when you picture the audience in their underwear. That's the popular way of doing it, right? But that most people are not so comfortable with that. So, we'll say, well, let's say I had a client once who is young, in her 20s, just this teeny weeny little teacup girl, right? And she presents in the UK to 10 white men in suits, and they're all the gray, you know what I mean? The white-haired gray men in suits. And so she gets very intimidated. She happens to be very smart, and she has to give a lot of informational data in these speeches to these men. And so I said, I want you to pick one of them in your mind right now and picture he's the guy who has provided for his family his whole life. He's got grandchildren now. And so it's the family gathering, and he's at the barbecue, and he's the guy at the grill, and he just loves providing. Nobody talks to the guy. And even when they do, they can't relate to him, and he can't talk to any of them and make any sense, right? So the little kids are like, hi, Grandpa, what do you have for me? Okay, bye. And he tries to do his silly jokes on them. They don't care, right? So he's lonely, and he's worked his whole life to provide and to build this family and to build this home, and he's invisible. And so now I want you to picture his ear hair and his dandruff getting caught in his ear hair. Okay, are you scared of him anymore? Right? So that's parataxic distortion. It's taking something and making it big and ridiculous, seeing him standing there in a diaper or whatever the case may be. So now when you look at your audience, maybe you pick out one person you were intimidated by, some boss or something, okay, if it's a presentation. And I want you to see her getting ready in the morning, putting on her mascara, hoping she looks good enough so people will take her seriously, because she feels an imposter syndrome. And she has to be extra tough at work because on the inside she's scared, and she eats ice cream and then doesn't tell anybody. Okay, so now that's parataxic distortion. So I taught this on week 1 to a public speaking client, and she came back and she said, Sandy, look, I learned a lot of things from you, and I came back because I know there's more, and I really enjoyed the hypnosis, but I got to tell you, your advice was terrible. And I said, well, how come? She said, I kind of think it's immature and ridiculous to see people in their underwear. I said, then don't. And I never said that you should. And she said, yeah, but I can't make up those big things. I don't have that mind like you. And I said, really? Because you're doing it bigger, better than I do. She said, what are you talking about? I said, the fact that you're scared of those people, that is parataxic. That is parataxic distortion.
Nice. Nice. That is such a different way of looking at it.
Now that you understand you have such a talent for parataxic distortion, we're not going to remove that from you. We're going to use that part of you and give her a different job.
Gotcha.
That's I love that. Yeah, that's great, Sandy. That's a great,
amazing, amazing. Loved it.
Because you're doing it already, just in reverse. So
yeah,
that's good. All right. So when I work a lot within myself and other people with public speaking, there's 2 other points of view I might have touched on a little bit with you the other day. So there's a belief we have that it's our job to make everybody like us when we speak in public, that everybody in the room is supposed to connect with us and supposed to like us. And that's a form of absolute insanity. And we know what we ended up doing is we go into a room, we look for that one person that's not happy or blowing off or not even paying attention, and we focus on the absolute wrong thing. The truth is, when you share in front of a group of people, it's just your job to share. It is insane to think every person that you meet is going to be a client, that every sales call you make is going to be a sale. That's not possible, and it's not true at all. It's not your job to sell everyone. It's not your job to make everyone like you. It's only your job to show up and share, because people's opinions of you are none of your business. You can't change their opinions of you anyhow, and it's not your job to do that. And so the most powerful speakers are generally the most vulnerable ones. The most powerful speakers are the most sometimes not even super polished. When your voice automatically is polished, you have that tone, and you have pacing, and you have timing in your voice. You have all the presentation skills you need. But I know we're talking logically, and fears don't always live in our logical part of our mind. So we're going to do something about that with you. But also to take with you what Sandy just said about that mindset shift of what you are doing with that paradoxical distortion. I said it right? Paradoxical distortion?
You know what, I probably say it differently and wrong every time, because there's because there are two things similar. There's paradoxical intention and parataxic distortion. So this is, I don't know how I said it. I may have said it wrong. Parataxic distortion.
Yeah. So another component in that is to realize not everybody's going to like you. Doesn't matter how you say it. Some people aren't going to hear it. And that's not your job. And so when we realize that, all of a sudden, the experience becomes very different. And then we can go into some of the other things. So what happens for many of us when we speak in front of people, there is a vulnerable side within ourselves that just likes to make itself known. Because we feel like people can see through us. And what happens is, there's a part of us we all have as a child, a part of ourselves that we have felt embarrassed from, embarrassed over, that we choose to keep hidden somewhere inside ourselves, instead of letting that person, that part of ourselves, be seen. And that's what I really believe a fear of being seen is. I have a picture of myself as a 6-year-old kid with big glasses and feeling so insecure, and I always wanted to hide that guy, that part of myself, because I was embarrassed over him. And for me to do that, that's me being embarrassed over a part of myself. And that's the person who comes up when I feel like people can see through me. So within all of us, there's a part of yourself. And it might have been just due to an embarrassing accident. It could have been the way somebody made you feel, or you looked at yourself at one point in your past, or maybe several points in your past, and we took on a belief that we had to hide a part of ourselves. And that unhealed person inside you that you have tried to keep quiet in the background is the person who's screaming at you in those very moments. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
And so part of what we do is we go back and we fully accept her within you. And we apologize to ourselves for ever believing that we needed to hide a part of ourselves. We make that whole connection back within ourselves. And then logically, we remember everything Sandy just said. Logically, we remember it's not your job to make everyone like you. Then all of a sudden, the experience changes. One of my favorite heroes says, I hope I screw this up. Because he's like, the very fact that you're telling yourself not to screw it up means you're going to. It's like, listen, I'm going to probably mess this up. Oh, well. Then you get to be you again, right? This idea of being perfect in presenting. So what we can do, I think we still have enough time for this little moment of connection. If you would like, I will guide you through a quick moment of connecting and releasing that part of yourself. Yeah, because Sandy, I don't know about, you've worked with a lot of people in this area, but lately I've had this come up many times where people have literally said, I have a fear of being seen. Have you heard that in your practice, Sandy, from people specifically?
All day, every day.
You hear it in those words. Okay.
That's what procrastination is. That's what avoidance is. It's all a shield against criticism and judgment. Yeah. That's what perfectionism is. It's a shield against criticism. I wanted to say something real quick, Francesca. I don't know if you were watching, but what is your name again? I can't. In South Africa, what is your name?
Charles. So you can just call me Charles. Yeah, Charles. Okay.
Did you see Francesca? Her eyes getting glassy and blinky. That she's already hypnotized by Glenn and she doesn't know it.
No.
When Glenn said, "Do you mind if we do a little thing?" You're already in. So I just wanted to point that out to people who are hypnotists and want to learn from a master, Glenn Rottmann. I also have to say I have to run because I have a guy at my door. Richard asked if we were going to save a copy of this. Of course, this is now the Three Ways podcast. So Francesca will send it to me. I'll get it up tonight or tomorrow for sure on anywhere you listen to podcasts, also on YouTube. And he also said, is this the reason I do gambling? This is all related. We have a version of us talking about gambling. It's on Francesca's site. It's not on the Three Ways podcast, but it is on Francesca's Instagram.
I will send you.
I gotta run. I will go back and watch. Glenn's gonna knock you out so fast because you're already there. Good luck to you. I want to follow your story. I gotta go. I love you guys so much. Mwah.
You too, Sandy. You're the best. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
soon.
All right. So we have just enough time to do this point that I want you to feel within yourself. Okay? And then we'll pick up again next week. So you can hear me loud and clear? Are there any distractions? Did I hear a barking dog in that house earlier?
No.
Well, maybe that was Sam. Did you hear a barking dog earlier, Francesca? Am I losing my mind?
No, it was in your mind, Glenn.
It's in my mind. Maybe I'm projecting that because I've had so many experience with dogs in the background. All right, so get yourself comfy. Right now, get yourself comfy. Is there a pillow you can put behind your neck or your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about holding your head, right? So what we're going to do, this is just going to be, it was a noise. Okay, so she heard it. It wasn't just me. Somebody heard it too. All right. This is really easy. We've all been hypnotized 1,000,000 times a day. Hypnosis is just a light, dreamy state. So the only thing we have to do to get there is be open, allow yourself to drift, and I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. So close your eyes, listen to my voice, and allow yourself to just settle. We always get there with our breath. So take a deep breath all the way in and release it. Now we're going to slow it down. Another breath all the way in, even slower, and release it. Now breathe in and hold it. Breathe all the way in. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Beautiful. One more time. All the way in. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Release it. Good. Now, I just want you to focus on my voice. And in your imagination, just go into your body. Imagine drifting into your hands. And I want you to think about the temperature of the skin on your hands. Just feel that. Because when you do, you go deeper. And I want you to think about your feet. Maybe one foot feels a little heavier than the other, and one foot feels a little lighter than the other. Get in touch with that sensation. Now notice where you're sitting, how you are completely supported where you're sitting, and there's nothing else you need to do other than relax and let go. It doesn't matter how deep you go. The only thing that matters is that your eyes remain closed, so your imagination stays open. Now, as you're listening to my words, focus on your eyelids. I want you to relax your eyes down to the point where they just won't want to open. You are in complete control. Just relax your eyes down to the point where they just won't want to open. You're in complete control. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to test your eyelids. But don't test them until you're so sure they will not open when I count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now that you've proven it to yourself, you've done it correctly, stop trying. And on this next breath, let the quality of that relaxation wash over you from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes. Let yourself go deeper. Deeper into this experience, deeper into your imagination. And when I count down from 5 to 0, you'll be there. Think about each number. 5 going deeper down to 4, letting go. 4, deeper down to 3. Noticing the deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you let yourself go. 3 goes deeper down to 2. 1, all the way down to 0. Good. Now I know that you're here to create a change within yourself, to find a sense of security in those moments in life where maybe you haven't felt so secure. Because I know that you know there's a feeling that happens when you stand up in front of a group of people, maybe a large group, maybe a small group, even just some friends perhaps. Whether it's on a video conference call or a large auditorium, there's a part of you that feels an insecure emotion. And that insecure emotion is very, very old. So right now, when I count from 3 to 1, I want you to drift in your mind back in time. Now, this may be something you see clearly in your mind, or it may just be something you feel and connect with through your feelings. But when I count from 3 to 1, I want you to go back in time, because somewhere inside you, there's a younger version of yourself that was afraid to be seen. A part of yourself that maybe you felt embarrassed about. A part of yourself that maybe you felt wasn't good enough. Maybe due to a life circumstance. Maybe due to something somebody said to you. Maybe it was a cruel word out of another child's mouth towards you. Maybe it was a friend, a family member. I don't know what it was. But you do. And you allow whatever comes up for you to come up. And I count from 3, 2, 1. Go back in time now to that younger girl that you have allowed to stay quiet in the background. And I want you to see her, feel her, and just know that she is there with you. Tuning all distractions out from the outside world, allowing everything else to fade away. But I want you to see her right now. And I want you to forgive yourself for ever trying to keep her hidden. I want you to apologize to her and set her free. Free from that self-judgment. Free from your judgment that there was something wrong with her. That there was something that needed to be hidden. And I want you to let her to come into you when I count from 3 to 1. To bring her back inside you. And allow her to be felt. Allow her to be seen. And I want you to feel proud to be connected to her again. There was never a reason to hide or feel insecure over that beautiful soul that is you. 3, 2, 1. Breathe her into you now. Take a deep breath all the way in. Feel her come into you now. Feel that sense of connection. Feel yourself being whole. And from this day forward, anytime someone looks at you, whether it's a group of people, many, many people, or just a few, they'll see a whole, connected woman that has nothing to feel insecure about. All parts of herself are beautiful, loving, and whole. There's nothing more to hide. There is nothing to see through because you are whole and connected. It's almost as if your entire past has suddenly made sense and you feel that connection so deep to yourself. And from this day forward, you will feel her inside you anytime it's your time to present. And as I give you a direct suggestion suggestion for your conscious mind to hear. Your subconscious mind will accept it because the suggestion is for you. From this day forward, you truly understand it is not your job to make people like you. From this day forward, you will understand that other people's opinions of you are none of your business. From this day forward, you will feel so secure, so at peace with yourself, just presenting, because who you are is enough. The way you are is enough. Breathe that in now, and as you do, just think about your favorite color. Think about a beautiful color you love. Imagine that color in your mind. Breathe it in. Anytime you see this color, it will remind you of exactly what you did today. You'll feel her deep within you. You will feel connected and whole. And you know it is not your job to make others like you. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business. And you enjoy presenting, sharing your ideas. Whether the words come out perfectly or not, it's not your concern. You feel so connected. Breathe that color in one more time. Breathe it all the way in. Feel it expand through your mind, body, and soul. And this color will serve as your reminder in each and every day, in each and every way. It only gets more powerful. Good. Now in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I do, you'll open your eyes feeling wide awake, feeling so connected to yourself, feeling amazing. 1, coming back to the room. 2, 3, eyes opening. 4, 5, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling amazing. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How was that?
Amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It's actually so fulfilling in a way. It's like a new fulfillment in you, if that makes sense.
Yes.
You know, it's
It
like
makes
a bit of
perfect.
yes.
Good. So that is a part.
You also have an amazing aura. It's true that Charles has an amazing aura, beautiful aura you have.
Thank you. Thank you
I
very
was
much.
watching you while you were meditating. I felt it very beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes. So now you can go about your week. You're going to feel that deeper connection to yourself. You already realize there is nothing for people to see through anymore. You can be seen as the whole beautiful soul that you are, and it will feel so much more natural. It'll feel so much easier. And I'm excited to get your next update next week. We'll be here the same time a week from now. And so pop in, tell us what you've experienced this week in just a few moments of connection with yourself. It's amazing how quickly your entire experience can change. And so you did great.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely give you feedback. I'm definitely going to join next week, and I'll tell you as I put it into purpose, during the week.
Yes.
Come live with us again to share your intention of this week. If you can have different results, you can share them with us, dear Charlie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would love
Now,
that.
before we go, do me one more favor. Just close your eyes real quick. Think about that little girl you saw a moment ago that you took in. Do you feel her? Good. Open your eyes and be happy. There you go. You did so good.
No, it is.
Also, to keep our inner child alive is the key for manifestation. People wonder why I'm not so focused on one thing, and I can manifest my desires often, mostly work related. It's because I truly have the intention. So, and my inner child is alive. So I talk about it, I bring people in. So inner child alive means being open at the end of the day, feeling less responsible, but more open to what has to come.
Yeah, to look at Francesca, you know she's in touch with her inner child. There's just no doubt.
Yeah,
You lived it, right?
You can.
Yeah.
It's my gift. I'm very lucky. As you have your gift, that's my gift, internal gift. I'm very happy to be a child. Yeah.
It is. And you have that now. You're back in touch with her. So we'll see you all in a week. Thank you for joining us and sharing. There's a lot of fun.
And thank you.
You are more than welcome. We'll see you soon. Francesca, you're amazing. I'll see you soon.
You're amazing, guys. Thank you for joining us. Charlie, thanks for bringing Charlie. Glenn, see you soon, guys. Can't wait.
Okay. Yes, bye.
Bye.